lucky. We've been working a little bit and talking with the Human Rights Watch quite a bit over the last 2-3 months, and Brendan has kindly come and is going to open the show and talk about how many of the issues that we work with and we talk about here in this space are very close to what Human Rights Watch does and continues to do. So Brendan.
Thank you, Michaela. Thank you, Edmund, also for inviting me here to give some opening remarks to this exhibition. I represent the Australia Office of Human Rights Watch. For those of you who don't know us, we protect the world's most vulnerable people by investigating human rights abuses all around the world in over 90 countries. We publish our research and create public pressure for change, and we affect that change by convincing the world's governments to switch their behaviour, enact new laws, and apply pressure for other governments to change. And I was walking through the exhibition for a few moments earlier, and I was struck by the extraordinary breadth of the artists' messages and methods. The bullet holes behind me, the burning house on my left, and it really reminded me, it presents I guess a unique expression of the artist's personal and subjective experience of home and space and memory and place and meaning. It's probably stating the obvious, but it's helpful to note the contrasts that arise when 5 or 6 voices like this are placed in a room together with their extraordinary difference in presentation. Now, a common property of being away from home is a sense of displacement and a sense of dislocation. And there are 6 voices presented here in this room, but over 65 million people around the world experience acute displacement today, driven by conflict and violence and repression. And like tonight, like the artists tonight, they have a distinct subjective experience, and it has a particular character. And that character is derived from the impetus to leave. It's a fact of the matter that their impetus to leave is a last resort, and it occurs under duress. Human Rights Watch investigates and monitors refugee flows across the world from source countries, Afghanistan, Syria, Burma, China, through transit routes and to destinations. We respond to emergencies as well as chronic situations, and we focus especially on documenting government efforts to block abuse to access to asylum, to deprive asylum seekers of rights to fair hearings, and to the forcible return of people to places where they may be harmed. Here in Australia, we invest time with the media, with government officials, and with politicians to ensure that Australians are aware of what is happening in our own backyard. People who sought asylum from Australia have often faced incredible hardship along the way. They're resilient, they are enterprising, and many of them should have their lives ahead of them. But they now feel like they are trapped in a horrible time warp. We've sent researchers to Manus Island and to Nauru to document conditions in Australia's offshore detention centres. I won't bore you with the minutiae, but let me instead tell you a few stories directly from the asylum seekers. One man on Manus Island said to us, "In detention, you become domesticated, like an animal inside a cage. You think they're fine, they look fine, they seem healthy, but they could not survive in nature. That is like us now." Speaking of others in the centre, he said, mentally they're not fine. The mind doesn't work very well. They read, but they can only read a page and they forget. They lose concentration, they won't leave their rooms, and they have lost the ability to live. A young woman said she married for protection after being released from the community. "After I left the camp, I felt very unsafe. I married a man who is 15 years older just to have protection. On Nauru, a woman said, people here don't have a real life. We are just surviving. We are dead souls in living bodies. We are just husks. Michaela mentioned earlier talking about the heavy substance of this exhibition, and yet it's a reality every day for refugees around the world. Excuse me if I turn to some more brazen and heavy facts. Also in our work in Nauru, mental health issues are rife. More than a dozen of the adults we interviewed said they had tried to kill themselves by overdosing on medication, swallowing bleach or razors, hanging or strangling themselves, or setting themselves on fire. Some children had injured themselves with lighters, razor blades, or in other ways. You all read of the case of Hodin Yassin, a Somali woman who was considered suicidal and was admitted to hospital in Australia for several months. When she was forcibly returned to Nauru, she managed to escape the 24-hour observation she had, bought some gasoline, set herself on fire, and burned 86% of her body. She lives today, but she's now, almost a year later, she lives in Brisbane and she's still under 24-hour medical care. The plight of refugees is only amplified by a global trend towards populist government, and some of that is driven by fear of migrants and refugees. Rights promote human dignity, and they protect people from government abuse. But this new generation of populist leaders, Erdogan, Orban, Trump, Duterte, they turn this on its head, and they're born on a tailwind of alternative facts and of popular discontent. These leaders encourage their supporters to see rights not as protecting them from the improper state actions, but undermining government efforts to defend their personal security and well-being. But we cannot cherry-pick rights. If we sacrifice a neighbour's rights today, we jeopardise our own tomorrow. Let me pull us back here to this room. We think of Australia as a multicultural country, but even here we observe the appearance of intolerance that we're seeing globally. But this path is not inevitable, and we follow it only if we allow inertia to reign. It's essential to remember that we are all human, and not merely numbers or hordes or waves as the rhetoric would have us believe. When we connect with somebody's personal experience, we can trigger a visceral empathic response that promotes compassion and understanding and demotes fear. And that is why I applaud efforts such as this exhibition tonight to celebrate the most human aspects of individual experience and remind us all of our diversity. We can never remind ourselves of this enough, and in the long run I believe that is how Australia will find its more compassionate and inclusive self. Thank you.
Thanks, Brendan. I think sometimes we don't talk about the hard things, or we don't look at things that look back with a very real or despair. And I think the words that you've given to us and really reflect the conversations Michael and myself have had with all of the artists involved in this exhibition and many others who we talked with in terms of putting context together. These stories in this particular show come from Palestine, come from India, come from Bangladesh, and the other three are Australian stories. So I think when we think about what you're saying about 65 million people, they're actually our stories as well. And I think if we think about them as being our stories, we have more of an impetus to maybe have some kind of action, whether it's a discussion or whether it's actually doing something about it.